To Them All. Written and read by Athena Weiss, February 2026. I believe horses come into our lives for specific reasons. Here are a couple letters to some of the horses that taught me invaluable lessons throughout my life. To the one who has stood by me half my life so far. Thank you for all the time and memories we have had so far, Vinny, and the countless teachings you have bestowed upon me. You were born 16 months after my mother passed away, and even though it took 2 more years for our paths to cross, I could feel that she sent you to me from our first meeting. You were a goofy, playful, 2-year-old gelding, bred for speed, and you frequently dismounted your riders. Chris, my boyfriend at the time, and the man I would eventually marry, groomed you, and you were his favorite also. I would walk you every morning when I was working, during my summer breaks and on the weekends, and tell anyone who would listen that one day you were going to teach my kids to ride. I was 17 at the time, and everyone looked at us like we were both crazy. You won 3 races the next year, the only 3 you would ever win. Chris and I still have the recordings, even though that was 18 years ago. Your owner sold you partway through the season when you were 4. We were heartbroken, but it didn't take long for the new owner to deliver you back to me one day. He said if I did not take your papers, he would give you to me for free. And even though I know buying the horse is the cheap part, we welcomed you into our family without a second thought. You taught me how to really ride that year, and taught me courage and trust. In years later, while I exercised racehorses professionally, people would ask me if I have Velcro on my pants and saddle. But I know it was from all the practice I had keeping both of my legs on either side of your rambunctious body. We met in Ontario, but you moved to Manitoba with us, and that is where you helped us as we started a training business. I'll never forget the day I had to get another rider to gallop one of our horses for me because he was too tough. We used that set to get you learning your new job of racehorse pony escort. You were calm and poised as we led the racehorse to the training track, but as he loped off and we started going around, you thought twice about the slow bit of exercise I had in mind. You took off after the other horse, and I had to shout a heads up to the rider that my now offended pony horse was passing him on his outside. Eventually, you got the hang of being the one that got to boss the racehorses around, and we started ponying races. We spent hours together every week, you and me, working as a team. Only one other time that year, you had to show off how fast you really were. We were working post-parade, cantering beside the racehorse we were helping to warm up before the race, and the jockey asked if we could go a little faster. I said yes, and you said, hell yes. And you took my little bit of leg added as if I spurred you on, and in the next stride we were galloping. The jockey said, "Yee-haw!" and you somehow took that to mean we should find the turbo gear. We were going so fast that the jockey told me to let go of him because his horse could not keep up, and the outrider set up in front of us to catch us, probably thinking the bit had broke or something. But as soon as you proved you were still the fastest, you slowed right back down. I guess you taught me humility, too. After Manitoba, we continued west back to my hometown in BC. I got to bring you back to the racetrack where my roots run deep, and everyone marveled at your beauty. We continued our daily teamwork, ponying racehorses, and then I was given the opportunity to outride during the mornings. Usually, this meant you and I would just hang out, and you would poke any trainers or grooms who stood near you looking for mints. You definitely ate a lot of mints those mornings. Sometimes we would need to throw our hero capes on and catch loose horses. I still remember our best catch. It was a filly that only had one eye. I used to exercise her, but she was going to the starting gate on a day we were out riding, so I was watching her close. The gates opened, and I did not see any rider on her. She had hit the side and unseated him on her way out of the gate. She was missing her left eye, which makes things even more dangerous. I was worried she might not leave a space to catch from the left, so I decided to set up a bit further down as she was coming off the rail naturally. Our timing was perfect, and we caught her before she made it to the wall, before she could collide head-on with anyone trying to get off of the track. All in a day's work. You taught me to stay calm under pressure during those days. Finally, we both retired from the full-time racetrack days. It was time for trail rides and relaxation. Eventually, I did have a daughter, and she was on your back before she could even walk. She's only 2.5 currently, so I have not had the chance to teach her to ride, and every time she does sit on you, you keep your feet firmly planted. I think you can sense how precious she is, and I'm sure you will have plenty of lessons for her in due time. Thank you for always being by my side, and thank you for all of your many lessons and all the joy and excitement you have contributed to our life. I hope we have many more years together. You still look just as magnificent as always, Vinny. I love you and appreciate you. To the one who sparked my healing journey. Thank you for being so honest in your discomfort, Alice. You taught me that consent is something that is given, not something that can be forced. When we first met, you had a foal at your side. You would be so patient with him as he jumped on you and bit you and did all the things that rowdy kids do. You never lost your cool, and now that I'm a mother to a toddler, I understand so much more. And I think of you when I'm feeling triggered. That calm, sturdy patience is exactly what a toddler needs in a mother. It actually makes me very sad when I think back to when we weaned your foal and moved you to a different farm. I am so sorry for that time. I knew then that I could never breed you again, even though that was the plan when you both came into our lives. You were sad then, and I cannot blame you for it. Eventually, I found an animal communicator to work with you, and through that session, I discovered how your hurt and loss was such a mirror of my own. I ended up getting hypnotherapy sessions from the same lady, and I was able to finally process most of the grief over the passing of my mother, and my life changed. This started the snowball effect of my healing journey, and I will be forever grateful for the piece you played in that. You are so sweet, but you have firm boundaries, and you taught me how to respect boundaries in others, but also how to enforce them in my own life. You taught me patience and teamwork, and that healing does not happen overnight, and that it is something that needs to be worked on daily. Consistency and determination are so important in our relationship. You are a shining light and always put a smile on my face. I cannot wait to see how our relationship continues to bloom. You are a part of our family and always will be. Thank you, Alice. I love you so much. To the one who taught me to let go. Daisy, you were a powerhouse. We used to say that you were built like a pit bull. My heart still aches sometimes. The main lesson you taught me was a very difficult one. You joined our family at 9 years old when we started training in Manitoba. You were still racing and had one race the year before. We bought you in BC and thought the easier company in Manitoba would be good for you, and we would clean up out there. Boy, were we wrong. But the lesson you helped us learn then was that we were not meant to be racehorse trainers. Your last race of the meet, you were the favorite. We were going to make some winter money and recoup some of the terrible year we had. Just before the gates opened, the replay shows the gate handler pushes you around. Maybe you bit him. Maybe he was being over-aggressive because you were not standing square. The gates opened when you were not expecting them to, and you nearly fell down. Your nose touched the ground. You spotted the rest of the field 5 lengths by the time you started running. You were racing up the inside, but the jockey, who still did not have himself set up, panicked. He pulled you to the outside, and you clipped heels with the horse beside you. But you did not fall down. You just stumbled really bad again. You continued running and fighting and still somehow ran third. You would have won that race for fun if you got a fair trip, but that race solidified for us that we wanted nothing to do with training racehorses. When we moved back to BC, you came with Vinny, Chris, and I. We did do some trail riding together, and I tried to find you a good home. But you came back. Twice. You were definitely the boss mare. The other horses felt safe when you were with them. Eventually, you started to fall down. You were not sleeping, even though you had no problem going down for a roll every day. I tried to figure out how to help you, but nothing I tried worked. Finally, I was pregnant, and you fell bad enough I had to call the vet to look at your knee. She said you would be fine with antibiotics, but I told her you would fall again, and I had tried to find ways to help you sleep, with pain medication, fluffy shavings, PEMF treatments, but nothing was working, and maybe it was time for us to put you to sleep. That vet shamed me that day for even suggesting it. After that, I gave you the antibiotics and pain medication, but I could tell you had fallen again and knocked the scab off. I remember feeling so torn. I had a baby growing inside of me, yet I was considering taking the life of a member of my family. When I looked into your eyes, I knew that you were tired and that you were not living your best life at this point. It was fall now, and the weather was threatening to turn. I finally made the hardest decision of my life to that point, and contacted a different vet and asked him to please come and give you the sleep you were unable to get on your own for whatever reason. I cried so much that day and the following day when you were finally laid to rest. Daisy, I am so sorry I could not find out why you would not lay down to sleep. You were 18 when we said goodbye to you. We had 9 years together. You taught me to never give up when you set your mind to something, and to not let anyone else make up your mind for you. You taught me that sometimes we have to let go of those we love. And I believe this process also helped me let go of the pieces of myself that were still holding on to the loss of my mother as well. My daughter has that same fiery will that you had, and I can see her grit and determination that reminds me so much of you, Daisy. Thank you for the lessons you taught me and for allowing me to be the voice that you needed. Rest easy, big girl. I love you so much.